Hello and welcome to So Many Books. I'm your host, Tony Andrews, and tonight's guest is Sarah Wendell, author of Beyond Heaving Bosoms, The Smart Bitch's Guide to Romance Novels. Welcome, Sarah.
Thank you. I am never going to get over having that introduction, author of Beyond Heaving Bosoms. Like, even I want to laugh at that.
Well, Beyond Heaving Bosoms, it's really funny, though, because we were coming in here and I was setting up the set this evening, and the first thing I did was pick up a romance novel that's actually called, here, I'll hold it up.
Heaving
We'll give her a
Bosoms.
moment. Heaving Bosoms, which by Heaving Bosoms by Ashlyn Chase. I
And if
actually
you search,
had a romance novel on the shelf, and Sarah said that if you go onto any of the websites and you search for her book, hers comes up and then this one comes up second, so she knew that it existed, and they said, here, you'll have to borrow this copy. And
The Heaving Bosoms,
I'm
they'll hang out
sure
together.
Ashlyn will be delighted.
Look,
for
they're
you to
making
have a
friends now. Oh,
to
my
have a copy.
bosoms are bigger, and they knocked her bosoms down.
I'll tell her you
I feel
said
really
that.
bad now.
I'll tell her
Poor
you said
bosoms
that.
fell down.
But
Oh,
I'm
dear.
really pleased to have you. I just heard your interview on National Public Radio, and could you touch me once so maybe someday I too can be on National Public Radio?
I
Thank
just
you
stumble
very
into
much.
this stuff. You want me to hold my hand and stumble into whatever comes next.
But
That was fun.
On All Things Considered, wasn't it?
Yes,
Was it?
All Things
Oh,
Considered,
yeah.
Weekend
It was really a
edition.
good interview, and people can go to the NPR website and hear that interview.
Yes, and
But
I can see
it was the
best parts.
classic thing where you are talking to this very literary person, this person who's very highly educated, very sophisticated, and her thing, she goes, well, as a person who does not read romance novels.
Yeah.
And so is that how you got started with this? Because this book came about because Sarah has a very, very popular website. She and her partners, Candy Tan, are the smart bitches who love trashy novels.
It's true.
And you can go online and go to this website, and there's reviews and discussions and all kinds of things about the romance industry. How did you start that? Why did you start that website?
Well, I had a personal blog online for a number of years, and I had a lot of time and an enormous interest in navel gazing, and went on at length about whatever was going on in my day. And this was back in the early days of weblogs, and before there even was the word blog, it was web journals at that time, and people were extremely long-winded. So I had a journal, and then I converted that into a weblog, and Candy found my site one day because I was writing about how once upon a time I made my own pet food, and she was looking to make her own pet food because she just adopted 2 kittens who just would not stop pooping. So she wanted to fix that problem because that's a problem. Don't want to deal with. So she finds my site, finds my cat food recipes, starts leaving comments, and kept coming back and left the longest comments you would ever see. I mean, most of the time if you leave a comment on a website, it's a couple words. She would leave like 300-word essays.
Oh, I leave long-winded comments.
Yeah.
I'm bad.
I'm a
one of
long-winded
those.
person too. So, she and I got on famously, but we met entirely through the context of my website, and that was really the only place I communicated with her. Then after the tsunami of 2004, it was December of 2004, I mistakenly remembered her as being Indonesian. So I emailed her, sort of like calling someone you've only emailed with before. I went off the website and I emailed her privately, and I said, I hope your family's okay. And she corrected me and said, I'm not Indonesian, I'm Malaysian, my family's fine, and things are really awful. So we started going back and forth and talking about that, and eventually ended up talking about romance novels. And I cannot find this email correspondence as to how we got on the subject, but suddenly we figured out that
How we went from cat food to romance novels.
cat food to tsunami to romance novels. I mean, doesn't everybody talk like that?
Yeah, sure.
So we ended up realizing that
The
we both,
butterfly effect.
of course, only with, heaving bosoms. We were both English majors. We both had advanced degrees in English, advanced degrees in, advanced interest basically in a lot of literary theory. We were sort of literary geeks, and we both loved romance novels, and we both took a lot of heat for our love of romance novels. And we wanted to start a website where we could talk honestly about them, snark on the things that were just utterly ridiculous that we loved anyway, discuss the incredible amount of male pectoral model.
You can say it.
Man titty.
Man titty.
A whole lot of man titty.
We
in
have
there.
one.
We got
we have
one man titty.
One poster of our posters here. We've only
more
got
man
one
titty.
poster that's got. I've got
There's right there. Second book course is I see man titty. It's
this
looking
one
at me.
right here.
Yes, man
Dark
titty.
Temptations. Allison
Look how
Chase.
look how I find
Allison
the man
Chase,
titty.
you find it with the big
Laser
the
vision.
huge pectoral muscles.
You can take shelter into
You
those in a
know.
rainstorm.
You could.
I mean, there's like
yeah,
a
mine's hidden behind the words on this book, but I have not truly had Oh, I don't have a copy of Witch's Night. One of my Virginia Reads got an excellent
Man Titty?
Yes, excellent man titty
Man
on
titty
it.
sells, and we wanted to talk about man titty. Lots and lots of man titty. And in the beginning, there weren't that many people that were reading the site, and we decided if we're going to go and make a website where we snark on romances and deliver literary criticism unto the man titty, we're going to name it something ridiculously raunchy. So we decided Smart Bitches Who Love Trashy Books. And we didn't expect anyone to read or that anyone.
Oh, it's hugely popular.
It is
Are you
now.
kidding? You're like the
It floors me
authority
every day.
It's like there was this big scandal over the Easter holiday where Amazon and we're going to give them the benefit of the doubt and say they're telling the truth that it was a glitch in their programming.
Glitch my ass.
But they went in. Yeah. Okay. It was a glitch that went in, and any novel that had gay content, I mean, and not, not naughty gay content, just anything that had homosexual content, anything that had erotic content, this whole list of things became derated. And when they're derated, that means they don't even come up if you search on them. So all of a sudden there were, hundreds of thousands of books and one of them is one of the books I wrote, actually. If you go in and search on it,
it's like a badge now.
they vanish.
I was delisted.
I was delisted on Amazon.
Woo.
But when that happened and everybody's like, gee, where can we go to find out the real story? I know, we'll go to the Smart Bitches website. And your website actually went down. How many hits did your website get?
Our poor web host, we were in the midst of the traffic, we were receiving over 300,000 hits an hour.
300,000 hits an hour going to the Smart Bitches website to see what their opinion was about the Amazon mistake, delisting mistake.
Oh my gosh.
We expressed an opinion about the Amazon thing, and it's, in the Google, well, anyway. But yeah, I went and checked. I admitted. And the other thing that I went
I'm starting to turn
and checked
red.
The other thing I went and checked to see with you about was the ravenous romance author that kind of went to war with Dear Author, which is another popular website that does reviews of romance novels. And there was a publisher there was a book that I can't repeat any of it on television because it was a very, very erotic book. But there was a bad review. But anyway, this author got very, very upset about the bad review and started a whole war. So of course I went to see what you. I said, well, I know that you will have commented on it, and you had on Twitter. Yes. You had twittered on it. So I went to see what you had twittered about it.
That was actually a little sticky for me in the beginning because Ravenous Romance was one of my advertisers. And after the initial launch of the website,
well, it wasn't the whole. She wasn't criticizing the whole publisher, just that one particular novel
book, and it was crazy. Just the initial premise of the book that you can go through a portal into the medieval age through the men's bathroom.
At a concert or something.
At a concert, the men's bathroom in a concert. There's a portal over the urinal, and you go through, and you are in medieval times in some sort of medieval harem, and it just went downhill from there.
And I can't see. You're a book critic, and I feel that as an author of fiction, I can't be a book critic. Okay, I know that some are, but I feel like I've given up that right because it's like you can do one or the other. If you're going to now write romance novels, then you have to give other people the benefit of the doubt. But I will admit that I did Twitter that link and say, I just got to say, just look at this and see this book. And it's called Night Moves with a K, because I've got Witch's Night with a K. So they did the same thing the name of the book is Night Moves.